Good morning. I'm Tech Sergeant Edgar Ewing, and today I'll be giving you a presentation on leadership. During my last deployment, I was the NCOIC of dispatch. My job was to ensure training of new airmen in the dispatch center and make sure all emergency notifications and dispatches were made within NFPA standards for dispatch times. As I got situated in my position as NCOIC, one of the first questions I asked to the assistant chiefs in charge of each shift was what improvements need to be made to better the process that we are currently using. The answer to this question was a better way of dispatching calls to each individual station. The assistant chiefs further expounded on the issues that their station captains were having with the current dispatch protocols. I asked for the suggestions for improvement. I then spoke with the station captains to get an understanding from their point of view as to what issues they had, in addition to solutions to make it better. With this knowledge, we were able to sit down and use different aspects of team performance concepts, leadership and management skills, and various project management concepts to create a solution that addressed the overall issue in addition to the individual issues of each station. Within team performance concepts, I spoke with the assistant chiefs, station captains, encouraged dispatchers, and encouraged them as creators to individually and collectively come up with ideas to improve the shortcomings of the current system. During project meetings, I acted as the advancer to propose different ideas the creators had to the group to decide which ideas seemed most viable. The reasoning behind this was to allow those who were refiners to evaluate the ideas and see if they would actually work or not based on the parameters and guidelines of the NFPA standards which we must uphold. Using emergency exercise drills, we were able to allow the dispatchers to be executors and try different ideas and get real-time feedback on which ideas worked best for them and the station captains on those shifts. This process further refined our ideas and allowed us to determine which ones worked best using the Z loop, in which creators come up with ideas, advancers promote ideas to the refiners, who determine if the ideas will work and then send those ideas to the executors for implementation. Leadership and management concepts we used during this process was the DAC, which stands for Diagnose, Adapt, and Communicate. We diagnosed the issues with the current dispatch process, which was notifying both stations when there was an emergency response that would only involve one singular station. We adapted new ways to dispatch calls using the Z loop. This information was then communicated through the group to ensure that everyone had the same information and understanding at the same time. We used the 5-step process simultaneously with DAC. We first analyzed the purpose of dispatch. Secondly, established goals to make dispatch more seamless. Thirdly, identified alternative options for dispatching individual stations. Fourthly, selected the best option through trial and error with emergency exercise drills. And fifthly, implemented best course of action for the fire department. Another management skill I was able to use was my positional power as NCOIC of dispatch to implement changes to improve the process. Once we had agreed upon the changes, I wrote a new policy and implemented them with the dispatchers and informed the station captains and assistant chiefs how dispatch would work moving forward for the rest of our tour. There were many project management concepts that positively impacted this project. The initiation phase allowed us to examine the feasibility of this project and define scope of project for the whole team. Monitoring and controlling was used to observe project execution, study dispatch times, clarity and conciseness of dispatch information, and check response times of rigs to emergencies. We also identified corrective actions needed to address issues and risks. The execution step was utilized during exercise drills to determine which idea was best and to be permanently implemented into our SOPs. So in summation, I have explained to you how I was able to utilize different team performance concepts using the Z loop, leadership and management ideals with DAC, the 5-step planning process, positional power, and project management concepts that impacted the outcome of improving dispatch operations and overall fire department operations. Thank you.